right, so our second food for thought piece is going to be on coaching. And when we're talking about coaching, we're really meaning like peer-to-peer coaching or teaching. So student to student, teaching each other, coaching each other, walking each other through how to do a problem. So I was at this training on Monday and they gave us this table to look at. And the table basically goes through the different ways that teachers teach students and the retention or the transfer that occurs during each method. So the one we specifically want to look at is down at the very bottom with peer coaching. So I've highlighted it for you, and specifically that transfer of knowledge. So as you can see, peer coaching has 95% transfer rate. So when they're teaching each other or they're coaching each other through a problem, that's when the most transfer, or the most understanding, or the deepest level of thinking is really occurring. We want those experiences to happen. So we need to be thinking about strategically, how are we getting our kids the opportunities to teach each other and to coach each other. So one document I've provided you is something that I used in class. It looked like this. So you can see on the left side it has problem to work, on the right side it has steps with vocabulary. The last time I did this with my kids was down towards the end of the year over our unit with systems of equations, so I just pulled up the document that I had already made. And there's two roles, so you have your kids in partners. One student would be the coaching role, one student would be the student role. If you are the coaching role, you are teaching the student how to do this problem, so you are responsible for walking them through the problem. If you're the student role, I would tell my kids, you don't write anything down unless the coach specifically tells you to write it down. So the coach has to say, okay, in our first step, we're going to do this, let's write this down, and the student would write it down. The student doesn't write it down unless the coach specifically tells them. So in this first example, the coach would help the student work through that problem, telling them what to do each step. Then they'd move over to the step side with vocabulary and they would fill that in. Again, the coach is saying, here's the first step we did, what vocab did we use, they figure it out together and they write it down. Then the coach again is saying, okay, second step, here's what we did, what vocab did we use or what took place, and they write that down together. Then when they're done with the first problem, they switch roles and move into the second problem. So if you were the coach for the first problem, you're now the student. If you're the student for the first problem, you're now the coach, and you work through the same process. So again, the student's not writing anything down unless the coach tells them to, and then they're going through the steps again together. So it gives them an opportunity to be the teacher and to be the coach and really have to verbally explain things to each other. Which we've talked a lot about collaborating and using vocabulary and things like that. This is just another way to do it. So this can be done on this page like I had it, or it's also as simple as just doing it straight in the book. If you find some problems that work well and there's room in the book, having them teach each other through that. But again, since teaching and peer coaching has the highest transfer, we want to be thinking about ways we can start implementing that into our teaching.